I have seen the PI industry change more in the last few years than in the last two previous decades combined, and I can tell you that the legal targets on our backs have never been larger. Now, whether you're conducting a deep dive due diligence investigation, background checks, or complex financial investigations, the risk today extends far beyond just getting made on a surveillance. In this video, I want to explore these legal risks and challenges that we face, and then we will discuss what we can do to protect ourselves, our agencies, and our futures against each of these risks. Let's first discuss invasion of privacy in the digital age. In my experience, the biggest risk today isn't physical, it's digital. This digital risk involves the unauthorized access of social media, phone records, or non-public data. Even if you're just a desktop investigator, crossing the line into a subject's reasonable expectation of privacy can trigger a massive lawsuit against you. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. Let's also take a quick look at physical trespass and property boundaries. While this is often associated with surveillance, trespassing claims could occur anytime you set foot on private property, enter a gated community, or even a private easement without express permission. I've learned that a simple mistake in identifying a property line can turn a routine witness interview or a process served into a criminal or civil liability nightmare. And let's not forget professional negligence and the standard of care that is required for private investigators today. I treat every report I write as a legal document because any error, any missing criminal record in a background check, or misidentifying a subject in a due diligence report could be construed as negligence. If we make mistakes that cause our client to lose money or make a bad hiring decision, we could be held to a professional standard of care that could lead to some major lawsuits. I am also seeing and hearing about the surge of emotional distress claims these days too. We are seeing more subjects of investigations filing lawsuits alleging that the investigation they were under caused them severe emotional distress, fear, and even intimidation. You see, even if you stay within the law, these nuisance suits can still crop up and they can become much more than just a nuisance. It can be very expensive to defend because the plaintiff only needs to claim that they felt harassed or they felt stalked to force the case into litigation. I know most of us would never intentionally present fraudulent or false results in their investigation, but just because we never intend to doesn't mean it can't still happen. This is why I never guarantee a result to a client, because promising a specific outcome that doesn't materialize can be litigated as fraudulent misrepresentation. If I misrepresent the methods I use or the reliability of the information I provide, I am essentially handing my client a reason to sue me for professional misconduct. Now, can we protect ourselves against these risks? What steps can we take to make sure our legal six is covered? The first thing is to make sure we have proper general liability insurance coverage. I view this as my physical shield, if you will. I carry general liability insurance specifically to cover the slip and fall, if you will, risks of my business, such as a client tripping in my office or me accidentally damaging property while I'm out on a case. This policy is my first line of defense for bodily injury and tangible property damage, acting as the baseline protection for my company. Then there is errors and omissions insurance that covers our professional work product. I view errors and omissions E&O insurance as the backbone of my risk management because it covers the intangible, wrongful acts related to the investigative work that I conduct. In other words, general liability covers physical accidents. E&O is what steps in when a client alleges that your investigative errors or inaccurate reportings cause them financial or legal harm. As a professional private investigator, it is absolutely necessary to have both E&O and liability insurance, folks. Yes, having only one of these policies might save you a few dollars every year, but then the cost savings that you get put you at risk all the more. Let's say something happened where someone got injured due to your investigation, and then they go to hire an attorney, and the attorney discovers you have liability insurance. Now you're thinking to yourself, no problem, I'm covered. What could possibly go wrong? Well, when your client finds out that you do not have E&O errors and omissions insurance, well, does that open up any legal issues for them? It very well could lead to risk for the client, or at least the perception of risk, and their attorney may decide to take action against you. That is why you need both that physical shield of protection and that professional shield of protection. Before we discuss how to protect your PI business with your contract, let's quickly discuss where you can get this type of insurance coverage for private investigators. Now, this is not a sales pitch, folks. This is just plain good advice based on my years of business experience. No matter what profession you are in, the best insurance policies for you are not from big insurance companies. As a professional, your insurance policy needs to be from a company that specializes in your profession. A plumber needs specialized plumber's insurance. A doctor needs specialized medical malpractice and other insurance policies. And a private investigator needs an insurance policy that is specifically written with the risks of being a PI in mind. And that is why I always recommend OREP Insurance. Yes, they are a sponsor for this channel, but even more so, they are my insurance company. In fact, I had my insurance with OREP long before we struck a deal with them to be a sponsor. And you know what? I would have never brought them on as a sponsor if I didn't believe that they were the best option out there for private investigators. Here is a perfectly good example of why you need that specialized PI insurance policy. If you hire subcontractors, I can guarantee you that most standard business liability policies will not cover your subcontractors. And most PIs don't even know that they are legally responsible for the actions of any independent contractors they hire. This means their trespass case, any injuries they cause, or error they make in reporting will become your lawsuit. To mitigate this, I require all my subcontractors to carry their own insurance and sign an indemnification agreement while ensuring my own policy explicitly covers independent contractors. Now, you also need to cover your risk by having a proper PI services contract with your clients. My engagement letters are more than just a price quote. They include strong indemnification clauses that protect me from the actions or bad intentions of my clients. I have found that having a solid signed contract is the best way to define the scope of my work and limit my liability before the investigation ever begins. By combining strict operational protocols with specialized insurance coverage, I ensure that one bad day or one litigious subject or client doesn't end my career. Now, if you need a good contract, I have several resources you can check out. I have my book, Contracts for Private Investigators, The Secrets No One Else Will Tell You, that will walk you through the process of writing your very own PI contract. I also have sample templates for PI contracts that you can purchase for download on my website too, and I'm going to leave a link for those down below.